Hey everybody, so we're going to talk about rotations today, about an origin. So that is when you have a figure that is rotated around this middle point in this graph. So you will need this worksheet along with a calculator and a pencil. So to start the notes for today, what is a rotation? It is a turn around a fixed point called the center of rotation. The figure rotates at a specific angle and direction. Though the figure can rotate around any fixed point, the most common center of rotation is the origin. And we want to remember that the origin is 0, 0. So rules of rotating points about the origin. So when we rotate, we always rotate counterclockwise. So if you think about a clock that has the minute and hour hand, it goes in this direction. We're going counterclockwise so that it's going backwards. So the direction's going to be that way. We know what a 90-degree angle is. That's a right angle. So when you have your ordered pairs of x and y, you flip your x value and your y value. So now it's negative y, comma, x. So an example would be like 1, 5. It's now negative 5, 1. So all you do is flip those coordinates, but you just negate your x coordinate, which is now your y. 180 is a straight line, so that's rotating it around 180 degrees. So we have our coordinate x, y, and all we do is negate or change the sign of your ordered pair. 270 degrees is 180 plus another 90. So we have our ordered pair. We flip them just like 90 degrees up here, but you negate y. So that's going to be very helpful when we are going and doing these examples. So let's look at some examples. So I have already graphed my original triangle ABC. So if you want to pause the video and graph the triangle, that would be great. All right, now that you have your triangle graphed, we are going to rotate it clockwise 90 degrees. So remember, we're taking our ordered pair, we're flipping it and negating what's in the x space. So this first point, 2, 7, it is now going to be negative 7, 2. 6, 5, it is now going to be negative 5, 6. Oops, wrong space. Negative 5, 6. And lastly, for C, we had 4, 1. It is now going to be negative 1, 4. So let's graph these points. And let's make sure we label them A, B, C. So now we have A prime, B prime, C prime. So we took this figure and we rotated it 90 degrees. Next example, number 2. We're rotating 180 degrees. So we take our coordinates and we negate both of them. So graph your square just like I did. So pause the video. Make sure you label your points. So I'm labeling my points. All right, so let's determine what our new points are going to be. P is 2, 6, so it's -2, -6. Q is 6, 5, so it's -6, -5. R is 5, 1, so R prime is -5, -1. And S is 1, 2. It'll now be -1, -2. So let's graph these points. So now we rotated it 180 degrees. Now it may look like we just translated it because it's a square. However, Q is here. These are not primes. I do not know why I put the primes there. Q is in this corner, but now Q is in this corner, so it's not the same. If it was a translation, S and S would be in the same spot. So that's a very key point in determining when we get further on in this unit, whether we have a translation or a rotation. All right, flip the page. I'm going to do one more with you, and I'm sure you'll be okay to continue on. So let's graph this trapezoid. Again, make sure you plot your points. So we are rotating this trapezoid 270 degrees counterclockwise. So that means our roll is still okay. So when we have our point X, Y, we flip them and negate the X. So let's determine what our new J prime is. Flip them and negate the Y coordinate. So we have 4, -3. K, 4, -6. L, 1, -8. And M, 1, -1. So let's graph these points. So we took this figure and we rotated it 270 degrees counterclockwise. All right, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pause the video and try number 4 on your own. All right, let's determine if you did this successfully. I am not going to graph the new figure. I am just going to write down the coordinates. X prime is -3, 2. Y prime is -6, -1. And Z prime is -5, 7. Good job. In the link, you will be able to enter in your coordinates for numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that is going to be in the form back in OneNote. So let's continue on. And also 7, 8, 9, and 10. 9 through 12, sorry. All right, so let's determine what happens when we have a counterclockwise example. So if we are on a clock and the clock is 360 degrees, right? And we went so if we started here and we went 90 degrees clockwise, counterclockwise, that means we went 270 clockwise. The same thing goes that if we went 90 degrees clockwise, we went 270 counterclockwise. So when we're doing clockwise examples, we are really just doing 270 counterclockwise. So we need to look at the rule for 270. That is when you take your coordinate and you negate the y when you flip it. So graph your triangle and make sure you label it. Now we need to determine what the new coordinates are. So we need to flip these two coordinates and negate the one that is in the y coordinate. So we have 5, -1, 8, -3, and 1, -8. Please graph this new figure that we rotated. All right. For number 4, we're doing clockwise 270, which is really 90 degrees counterclockwise. So we need to do the rule for 90 degrees, which is x comma y. Negate your y that is now in the x position, and that's it. So graph your rhombus and make sure you label. All right. So what we are going to do is we are going to flip coordinates and negate what is ever in the x position. So we flip it, -2, -7. That 7 stays negative because we are not negating it. 8 is -6, -5. Again, -6 is y, it is now negative, and x stays the same. And lastly, -8, -1, and -4, -3. Let's graph this new point. So now we've rotated this 270 degrees. It kind of looks like we flipped it a little bit, but I and G prime are not in the same position. If it was flipped, we would have I and I prime, but it's rotated. All right. Like I said, I'd like you to finish this worksheet and you will have a form to enter in the answers for the ones that you need to complete. Your homework is to complete this and submit it on the form. If you have any questions, please look back into the OneNote directions. Thanks.